Uh, Welcome back to Forging the Iceman. It's been a while since I made a video. I've been very busy. A lot of changes in my life going on. Right now, well, I've talked about how sex transmutation is a part of my life. And that is part of why this video is called Vitality and Vexation. So, or Virility and Vexation. Actually, I could just call it Vitality, Virility, and Vexation. Now, what is vexation? I always liked the word vexation just because I really think it describes a certain type of feeling of indignance or anger particularly well. And I've been reading the Bible a lot lately, and they use the word vexation like, this was a vexation to his spirit. And quite a few things have been a vexation to my spirit lately. Um, I'll also start with some positives too. Started dancing bachata. That's something very enjoyable. I'm becoming more and more passionate about my work, and it's consuming more and more of my life. I also want to mention that I was inspired to get back to making my videos by another channel. Check out Voice in the Desert. I'm going to put a link to that channel in the bio. That's my brother Aniaba, so shout out to him. But I've been reading a few new books. Started reading this book, The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung, which basically talks about how the individual is lost basically in the statistical shroud of the masses, how the individual becomes basically a non-entity when talking about individuals in terms of trends, statistics, and so on, because it is antithetical to the very nature of individualism to talk about group trends, because an individual is individual in a lot of different ways. So anyway, vexation, virility, and vitality. So the more I have been transmuting my energy, the more I have a desire. And also, I talk about kind of like how insulin and glucose, or insulin and glucagon, have kind of an inverse relationship. I believe that contentment and satisfaction have a similar inverse relationship. Now, I'm going to go more into that concept later, but when we talk about vexation, virility, and vitality, I want to emphasize how when one begins to transmute sexual energy, there's going to be a lot more passion when it comes to anything. You're going to be more passionate about your work. You're going to be more passionate about your creative endeavors. You're going to be more passionate about realizing your true potential. And passion is like an all consuming fire. I was taking some notes earlier. Give me one second. Passion is like an all consuming fire. It's like an inferno, right? You can be so consumed with passion that it can become an obsession. That passion becomes something that engulfs your attention at all moments of the day. You become so passionate that you may stop sleeping, you may become angry at the slightest of things, the slightest impediments and things of this nature. And this is what I've noticed. And so I think it's very important when you begin transmuting energy and you become very passionate about self actualization, self realization, that you channel that vexation into the right avenues. So, what does this mean? This means, for example, I was going to forego going to the gym today because I was so vexed at myself, right? Because I'd stayed up last night. I was reading The Art of Impossible, very inspired. I was making some mind maps, making some connections between my passions, my interests, so that I can begin to create circuits of these interests and see how they overlap and intersect with one another, so I can begin synergistically engaging both of them, so my biology starts doing more work than conscious willpower or effort. Because when I'm passionate about something, when you're passionate about something, there's a certain amount of neurochemicals that are produced that basically facilitate you learning and improving much more rapidly than you would if you were looking into something that you weren't interested in. This is why it's so important when you start reading. You see, I got my books back there. When you start reading, when you start doing anything, it's important that you're passionate about it. I always felt as though I had two left feet, but I always wanted to know how to dance, right? And it would really hurt my feelings when people would say, "Oh, you don't know how to dance," right? I would really get an ego boost when, sometimes I remember one time I was in Finland and I was grooving. And this guy was like, he said something, but he was like, he really, I felt seen, you know what I mean? And I was dancing to He's the Greatest Dancer by Sister Sledge. I always loved that song. I always felt like I could embody that song, right? But there's passion there. And so it doesn't matter that when I went to that bachata class for the first day, I could barely find the beat. It mattered not to me because I'm passionate about it and I'm going to learn about it. So learning is going to be easier. I'm passively learning. I just find myself counting steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It makes it easier to learn. I couldn't even find the beat on the first day, but over the course of this week, I've just been passively integrating that consciousness of the beat into my everyday life, into when I'm listening to music. So what does this mean? This means that vexation is just a manifestation of your passion. So it's important also, because I was watching a video on, because it's basically got an assignment from the book to watch videos or take in information that directly correlates or connects a couple of your different passions. I have a passion for meditation, zazen, and the neurobiological mechanisms of meditation. So I watched a video. I believe I'm going to put the link to the video. It was like California or something. The neuroscience and neuroprotective effects of 20 minutes of mindfulness meditation, which is focusing on the breath every day, right? And how this can help regulate stress, how this can reduce activity of the amygdala, which is associated with stress responses and things of this nature. Just 20 minutes of mindfulness meditation a day, focusing on the breath, not judging. And this even ties into another one of my interests that I wrote down because they asked me to write down 25 different interests. Now, this is the book here, The Art of the Impossible by Stephen Kotler, a peak performance primer. And that's another thing that I'm passionate about. Neuroscience, peak performance, meditation, all of these things overlap. And so it makes it so much passionate. You see how eloquently I'm speaking about these things because I have passion about them. Now, if I was learning about the biochemistry of something, I'm not very interested in biochemistry. I'm not very interested in chemistry. But when I make certain connections, it makes it easier for me to learn chemistry. Like, for example, when I start looking at the quantum physics of chemistry, of hybridization, of orbitals, of molecular orbital theory, and all of these things, of VSEPR theory, uh, valence shell electron repulsion theory, and I understand the quantum physics of these things, it becomes easier to understand because now it's being overlapped with a passion of mine. So when you experience vexation as a result of your virility and vitality, when you're transmuting your sexual energy, and that means you're looking inward. So a lot of your emotions really are concerned with yourself. I woke up late today, man. I missed class. I missed philosophy. I was mad at myself. And I was having trouble, I can't do this job I was doing. I was teaching students. I can't do that anymore because I have a laboratory obligation that I have to do. That's a vexation that I can't do certain things that I want to do, that I'm not like that. I want to be able to do more and I can do more. I have the capacity for these things, but it's a vexation to me that it's not here right now. So what do? I fall down 7 times and get up 8. That vexation, that anger, that is self-imposed is energy because it becomes depression when that energy is focused inward and it becomes lethargic, right? Vexation is a high energy emotion. So when you can use that energy to do something, it's better to be vexed than to be depressed, right? So we have to use that vexation. I'm about to use that vexation when I go to the gym. I'm about to use that vexation when I study for 7 or 8 hours today so I can be prepared for these 2 exams that I have. It irritates me to the nth degree when I don't know, something, when I'm not understanding something because I'm passionate about learning. I know that I have to be an expert at what I'm doing in order to be successful. You can probably see it in just the energy that is animating me right now, that vexation. But I'm putting it into a creative endeavor. I'm putting it into a positive endeavor. And not only that, it's not just about me. Whoever sees this video, I believe and I trust that whoever sees this video, this energy that I am transmuting into this screen right now, you will feel it and it will inspire you. It will make you think of things in your life, how you can use your anger. We all get angry, but that doesn't mean it has to be taken out onto somebody else. We can turn it inward, look at it for what it is, and not judge it, because you're gonna get angry, right? When you're this book is called The Art of Impossible. When you're pursuing peak performance, when you're pursuing the best version of yourself, you're gonna get angry. You're gonna fall short. You're gonna get mad. So what are you gonna do? You gotta do something. Do something you're passionate about. It's gonna be easier to see those passions because look at what makes you angry, right? Outside of other people. Look at what makes you angry at yourself. What makes you disappointed in yourself? What brings out these high intensity, high amplitude emotions in you? And when you look at these things, like for example, for me, I get angry when I don't understand certain things. I get vexed when I don't understand certain things, especially in a biopsych class or a neurobio. Well, biopsych, I'm doing pretty well in. But neurobio today, I was in that class and I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. And it's that vexation that's going to get me through those numerous slides. It's going to make me take the notes in a better way. That's going to enhance my ability to color code things and notice certain patterns. So I'm going to leave you guys with that today. I don't want to talk too long. I don't have much time. But yeah, shout out to Aniaba, shout out to Voice in the Desert. Um, Big inspiration to me. Oratorical skills, just man, like bro's really been a big brother to me, bro. Facts. So shout out to Voice in the Desert. What was I gonna say? Oh, check out his channel. You know what I mean? Check out his channel. All of that, man. And another thing about vexation is that when you see someone, it can be a vexation to you seeing other people in general, seeing other people doing better than you or doing more than you or doing things that you want to do. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to be a hater? Right? Are you going to choose to be a hater? Are you going to choose to stand on the sidelines and watch and give that person energy to dunk on you? Right? Or are you going to be like Kobe? Right? Kobe saw Michael Jordan. He saw him doing all them plays, right? Now, did he sit up there and hate? He wanted what Jordan had, right? But he didn't covet it. He wanted something for himself. He developed that Mamba mentality, right? I was watching a presentation on Mamba mentality recently. So are you gonna when you get that feeling that you see someone that is an example for you, that is an inspiration to you, right? That makes you want to go harder, right? That's doing things that you want to be able to do, right? Are you gonna take that energy and choose to hate on that person? Because it's not about the feeling. Feelings are natural. We cannot control them. We can't control our emotional affect, but we can control how we choose to dissect our emotional affect, right? And reconstitute it into something positive. Now, a lot of people choose to be haters. A lot of people choose to, throw shade and all that type of shit. No, I'm gonna shine light on these things because it's very real. It's real. We talk about real things here on this channel, right? Here on Forging the Iceman. Because to forge something, it has to go through the fire and the flames, the inferno of emotions. It can be tumultuous, it can be turmoil, it can cause you to suffer your own emotions, but only if you allow them to, only if you stay there. You can use that, you can get burnt alive by the fire, or you can use that fire to temper yourself, to hammer yourself. Because when you're on fire, you're more malleable, right? Like a blacksmith, you're more malleable. You can use that fire to temper yourself into the shape that you desire, into the shape that the Most High has designated for you. I was praying today on the way home. I was just talking to myself praying because I realized I have a Muslim brother and he told me that praying is really just talking to God. It's not like, it's not, doesn't have to be anything overly formal. I was just asking God for help, man. I'm like, man, like my emotions, man. I'm feeling so many things. And that's another thing, bro, about transmutation. You feel so many things that you are running from because that's the reality of what a lot of certain behaviors are associated with um unconscious sexual behaviors. It's because you feel something that you don't like and you've conditioned yourself. I believe that would be operant conditioning because you're conditioning a behavior. Once you feel that thing, it's like, oh, I gotta do this. No, because those behaviors are often not constructive. Even though they can be enjoyable, they're not purposeful. They don't lead to anything. They don't build anything. There's no scaffolding. There's no upward mobility. There's no elevation. So yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit when I feel, hey man, this guy is doing better than I am right now, right? And more power to him because that's God working through that person. Just like he's working through me when he's showing me, yeah, I'm feel convicted, right? I feel convicted because just as much as I feel those emotions towards certain other great men in my life that are doing great things, I went to the Ernest Just Symposium. I saw some brothers out there that were just, man, they were brilliant. They were able to speak about the science in a way that, man, I seen that and I was like, man, I want that, right? Just in the same way that I know there are some people in my life that see me in a certain way, and they will either use that energy in a constructive way to work on themselves, or they won't. And I also have that choice. You also have that choice because there are people in your life that see you and either decide to take action to better themselves, take the constructive route or the destructive route. We all have that choice. So, how are you going to use your vitality? How are you going to use your virility? How are you going to use your vexation? Stay frosty.